Okay, next, since I'm going to talk about weapons last, I'll talk about player behavior in matches. Just things I've observed. If you're going to play higher level stuff, unless you know what you're doing a lot, or you're playing like a Fire Race White kind of situation, don't go into gold with anybody under level like 6. And if you're going to, probably use a sniper rifle and hang back. And you probably ought to have a pretty high level sniper. Like when I and have some other purpose. Like for instance, when I promote my infiltrator, I go to Quarium Mail, put my 1 point into arc grenade, and then put on the extra grenade equipment. So I have a couple arc grenades I can help my teammates out with. Another good one would probably be tactical scan. And then I put on the crisis sniper, because then, and possibly an ammo effect like cryo ammo or disruptor ammo if somebody's running an overload build, because really, or you could even go with Falcon, because the best thing you can do for your team is provide some AoE damage when it's needed, or scan targets for extra damage, or put ammo effects on mobs. You're really not going to be dealing out that much damage. So if you can stagger stuff, put ammo effects down, and provide grenades when needed, that's probably, just to maybe clear out turrets, possibly turrets and drones, that's probably the best thing that you could do for your team as a level 1. Anything other than an infiltrator, except possibly a decoy spammer, which you can easily get away with level 1 when you're doing your Geth cheese. But anything other than that, you probably want to hop over to bronze, or if you're ambitious, silver, and just get a couple levels on that, because otherwise you're probably going to be an inhibition to your team if you don't know how to play a level 1 conservatively. Other than that, sometimes it's good to let people die. If you're not in a situation where you need them, if you have stuff under control, and you know you can make it to the end of the round without maybe a fourth person, let them die, because then they'll probably stop doing whatever it was they were doing that got them to that death in the first place, and moving from whatever position you are, or deviating from whatever you're doing, could possibly put you in a situation where you die. And if you don't have mana gels, or don't want to waste them, then that could put you in a position where your other two teammates get overwhelmed, and it's just unneeded equipment wastage, that's not a word, unneeded equipment usage, or possibly wasting a round. And so sometimes it's good to let people die. That's pretty much it for character behavior. Generally, don't be an idiot is a good rule. And I guess that's it for character behavior. I don't know why people use soldiers. Maybe there's something I don't know. I know there's supposed to be a human soldier build with the Claymore that's supposed to be pretty good, but other than that, I don't know why people use soldiers. Use infiltrators if you don't want to be ambitious or be creative. Use infiltrators; they have the best damage. But anyway, now I'm going to talk about weapons, because weapon choice is something I see very little intelligence with when I'm playing with randoms, and I think that's just because people don't know the real stats other than these little bar stats, which are just like the Call of Duty bar stats, very inaccurate. One thing that's good about Mass Effect is there is a lot of different kinds of weapons with a lot of different effects, and that's one thing I do appreciate about Mass Effect. But it also has a drawback in that people don't, if they don't explore a weapon or play with it a lot, they'll just believe these bars. And if you just believe the bars don't show the these added weapon effects, like having extra penetration or being an explosive weapon, or what kind of area of effect an explosive weapon has. These bars don't show it. It just comes from experience, and generally people don't step out of their comfort zone once they find something they like. The first thing I want to talk about is shield gate and snipers versus shotguns. Shield gate is a thing where in bronze it doesn't really matter. But in silver and gold, it certainly does matter. Shield gate is where if a mob has a shield on, and you hit them with enough damage to kill them, or enough damage to knock off that shield and what should go into their health, the shield will absorb all of it. It's kind of like where when you get hit by 2 prime rail shots, for example. Or maybe you have 2 bars of health, and a Banshee starts throwing its biotic at you, and you get knocked down to that 4th bar. That is essentially a health gate or a shield gate. Or when you get hit by a heavy attack and you have full health and shields and just your shields go down, that's what's called shield gate. And what that is it's a precaution that keeps you from dying in one hit from an extremely powerful attack. It's basically whatever, there are a couple things that do it. Your last bar of health will gate you, and your shields will gate you. It basically keeps you from dying from a really powerful hit. And so all of your health that last 4th bar of health will absorb any extra damage, and then it'll have a couple seconds of invulnerability after that, unless you're fighting Geth turrets or Cerberus turrets, or it seems sometimes Geth soldiers or Geth troopers. What it'll do is it'll absorb that damage, and your shield will absorb, when your shield goes down, it'll absorb all damage, and it won't bleed over into your health. Even if you had a fraction of shield left. And the same goes for any mobs with shields or barriers. If you shoot a Death Hunter in the head with a Widow 10 on gold, on silver and bronze the shield gate isn't as bad. Like on bronze 75% of damage goes through, the gate just blocks 25, and then on silver I think it's something like 50, but on gold it's 100%. So if a hunter has half shields, and you shoot them in the head with a Widow 10 while you're cloaked, only their shields are going to go down, and then you're going to have to shoot them again, and that's what's called shield gate. And it only blocks 1 bullet, but for single shot snipers, it isn't as bad for the Widow, and Chrysae rifle. Well, Chrysae we'll get to in a second. But for snipers, it's really, really, really inconvenient. And so I see a lot of people sniping. And really, when you're an infiltrator in a high damage class, what you want to be doing is taking out all of the small mobs, and seeing as the bigger mobs are slow and they're big targets, so it's easy for everybody to take them down later. You should be focusing on small mobs. It's really inconvenient to have to reload twice to take out a basic mob, and that's generally what you're going to be doing when you're using a single shot high damage sniper. So what I do to avoid that is I don't use single shot snipers. I use Black Widow, which has multiple shots obviously, but is still affected by gate. But you can use 2 shots to take off, or if you're good at headshots, a shot to take off shields and then another shot to pop a headshot on something. Or I use the Chrysae rifle. And the Chrysae rifle ignores shield gate, because the explosion counts as multiple hits. And so if something has shields, a little bit of shields, and you shoot them with 1 Chrysae shot, it's going to bleed over into their health. And so that's why one of the reasons why the Chrysae is so good is it ignores shield gate, and it has area of effect damage. So there's that. That's for snipers. And then, well, I guess I'll run through. I have a lot of weapons at level 10, so just if anybody's curious as to weights, I think Widow is around 30% at level 10, and Chrysae is around 90% level 10. I know a lot of people don't have those that high. No one cares about harpoon gun, but. And if anybody cares, the Javelin 4 is at negative 49% of level 4. Black Widow's at 19 at level 1 if you don't have that already.